everyone. Welcome to the Strategy and Communication Services Committee meeting for March 28th. In this is Councillor O'Toole, Councillor Bosch, Mayor Clayton, who has dropped off of the call, and myself, Grant Berg. So call the meeting to order. We don't have any delegations, so we will jump right to the service area update with Chief McEachran.
Thank you, Chair Berg. For the service area update today, I'll just start with the City Clerk's Office and Director of Legislative Services. Been a number of jurisdictional scans going on to assist with different areas, including our police service transition, looking for best practices, and a number of, as I've mentioned before, we've been doing a review of bylaws as well as administrative policies, and you will see some of those bylaw amendments coming forward, such as today. And also, we've been updating our flag protocol, including assisting intergovernmental affairs with Indigenous recognition, and we'll be bringing that forward shortly. In intergovernmental affairs, Director Tarrant has been very busy with developing a provincial election strategy that will be coming forward, as well as we have been attending RMA, mid-sized city mayors, and this week we'll be attending Alberta Munis as well. On corporate marketing, after a short delay, the surveys for the branding project have gone out just this past Monday. The branding surveys have been targeting 4 different audiences: residents, businesses, city staff, and visitors. We've also been leveraging tourism association and chamber databases to ensure that we get these surveys out to as many recipients as possible. And on human resources front, a number of initiatives underway. We will be hosting what's called Tough Enough to Talk About It. It's an initiative that we've undertaken to assist with support of psychological health for employees within the city. And we had 2 Northwest Polytechnic students who've just completed practicum placements with the team. They each provided 120 hours to the organization, and will continue to look for opportunities to support NWP students and others. And with that, I will pass it back to you.
Great. Thanks, Chief. Any questions? Don't see any. I just have one. Under branding, of course, the city just redid its logo just a few years ago. Under this branding umbrella, what are a few things that we're consulting on?
The branding initiative is more to enhance what we already have in place. We're not looking at a complete rebranding strategy. So nothing is off the table. It's about just looking at what's working and what's not working and what we can do to improve upon what we have.
Wonderful. I like continuous improvement. So thank you for your report. Moving on, no correspondence or other business. Item 6, bylaw and policy review. Once again, I will throw it over to Chief McEachran.
Thank you, Chair. So this is in regards to repealing of bylaw C1057A, regulate late night club and event in the city, and also amendment of bylaw C1395K, fees, rates, and charges bylaw. I will, with the Chair's permission, defer this item to Director Hansen with Legislative Services, and also Director Cajolet, who is here to support her. And
of course, step forward, ladies.
Thank you, Chief McEachran, and through the chair. I'll introduce the bylaw amendments and the items on the agenda today. This has really been a collaboration amongst pretty much every department in the city. With fees, charges, rates, it affects everyone. And so finance went back and consulted with the various departments. The majority of the changes coming forward with the bylaw C1395K are the amendments are reflective in the Recreation and Culture Department, and appreciate Director Cajolet's assistance today with any questions on that side. One thing that we did note when the review was being done is there was a review of a possible repeal of Bylaw C1057A, which was to regulate late night club events in the city. It's our understanding that this bylaw has not been active, or the parameters of it has not been acted for some time, and so through consultation with internal stakeholders, the recommendation is to repeal this bylaw. And the reason it's on this report is that if council or committee should decide not to repeal it or recommend repeal, then it would need to go back and be included in the fees and charges bylaw, because there's some fees attached to it. With that, I would turn it over to Director Cajolet for comments on the recreation and culture, and then I can wrap up with the comments regarding the engineering area.
Ms. Cajolet?
Thank you, through the chair and Director Hansen. So some of the proposed amendments have previously been reviewed at committee. So that includes membership fees that were reviewed in January of this year. It also includes the parade float fees that were discussed at a meeting in February of this year. And then some new categories have been added within the Recreation and Culture division in order to provide some enhanced programs and services related to our current scores agreement, and also some additional amendments that are really reflective of housekeeping items in nature related to the closure of the Leisure Centre and the Heritage Discovery Centre in 2022. So those fees do no longer need to be included in the report. And then one additional item where fees related to this South Bear Creek pavilion rental for sport partner and nonprofit groups, where the fees were actually reversed. So this amendment will just correct those rates.
All right, any questions?
And through the chair, if I could add one more comment
Yes.
relating to the amendments on page 3 under servicing agreements, reflective of the engineering area. This is an administrative alignment, just to keep with the practice that's already occurring with those two fee areas.
Great, thank you. So again, questions? Councillor Bosch.
Hi, thank you. It says here for under, which one is this? Under definitions, no alcohol or alcohol beverages are lawfully available on the premises for consumption or sale. Is that from like 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. or is that overall? How do you have late night events and then a lot of people have alcohol at these events?
So through the chair, is this referring, to bylaw C1057A?
Yes, under
Yes.
section 2.
Well, C1057, yeah, and it's under section 2D,
2B1.
2D1.
This bylaw is the bylaw that we are recommending to be repealed in its
Right.
entirety, as it is not actively being administered at this time.
But does this transfer to the one that is active? Does it say the same thing? No? Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Bosch. Anything else? Yeah, I actually was struggling with that exact same line too. But again, this goes back to a bylaw from 2001. So I was going to ask, are these two tied together, but loosely, because under the fees and guide, there are a couple of fees around this.
Yes, through the chair, just to clarify, the reason they're tied together is that there's fees attached to that bylaw, and they're not in the current fees, rates, and charges bylaw as it's written. And so that's why the repeal was necessary. Otherwise, we need to put them back in that bylaw.
Okay, and then just for an overarching clarification, so if we repeal the late night club event bylaw, Are we saying that nightclubs have gone the way of roller rinks?
Through the chair, in consultation with Planning and Development and Enforcement Services, the administration teams felt that this was not, bylaw was not required in order to enforce municipal and/or provincial legislation.
Okay, so these rules are covered under different legislation and bylaws.
Through the chair, that is my understanding.
Okay, thank you. All right, and with that, Councillor O'Toole.
Be willing to take care of business.
Please.
So the recommendations on page 1 of 3, I move that council give 3 readings to bylaw C-1057A, be in a bylaw to repeal the regulate late night club events in the city bylaw, and also move that council give 3 readings to bylaw C-1395K, being an amendment to the fees, rates, and charges bylaw.
All right, so we're not going to split these up. We can vote on both of these at the same time. Okay. All right, I will call the questions. All right, that passes unanimously. Moving on to the outstanding items list. Once again, Chief McEachran.
Thank you, Chair. For the Alternative Committee schedule, we will be coming forward in April with recommendations on this. And in regards to the Truth and Reconciliation Indigenous Relations update, we had hoped to actually present today on that, but we do have a slight delay as we're just working on one particular item. So anticipating that that will come forward shortly in Q2.
Great, thank you. Any questions around the outstanding items list? No? All right, over to Councillor O'Toole.
Okay, thank you very much. I move the committee receive the March 28th, 2023 outstanding items list as amended for information.
And I call the question. All right, and with that, I call the Strategy Communication Services Committee adjourned.